The Spokane School Board is trying to pass a budget for the upcoming school year. We break down what happened in their last meeting and if any progress was made. A plane made an emergency landing in North Idaho last night. We tell you what caused the landing and where it happened. With all of the recent changes, Netflix might not be the king of streaming anymore. We connect the dots for you on why this is happening. It's 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Tim Pham. Here's what everyone's talking about today. Lion King remake in theaters today. It was actually in theaters. It opened last night. I know a lot of people went to that. Hey everyone, I'm Tim Pham. It's good to be with you on this Friday. Finally Friday, we made it.
Yeah, exactly. Very nice start to our day. We have a little chilly of temperatures.
I was going to say, today did not feel like a summer morning.
A bit cold this morning, but at least starting off the day with a really nice look outside, right? This is the start to the day. The reason for a lot of these cold temperatures is because those clouds have pretty much cleared out. What those clouds do is they keep those temperatures overnight a little bit warmer. They keep the heat in. So since they've cleared out completely, well, we're starting off our day with a little bit colder of temperatures. And the thing is, off toward the eastern portion of the country, their temperatures are far warmer. So they're kind of just building in high pressure. That high pressure is going to shift off towards us toward the beginning of next week, but we're going to have to wait a bit. So because of that, right now we're dealing with some kind of hyper cold temperatures. Take a look at where we are right now. 49 degrees in Deer Park, 47 in Spokane. It is 41 degrees in Sandpoint. Keep in mind, some of these temperatures, when you factor in the wind chill, these temperatures are in some cases in the 30-degree range, which is, more in line with winter than anything else. We would normally expect close to 60-degree temperatures across the board. So of course these 40s are a little bit of a surprise. As far as that 24-hour temperature change, take a look at this. It is 20 degrees colder right now in Sandpoint than it was just 24 hours ago. 10 degrees colder in Spokane than 24 hours ago, and 11 in Coeur d'Alene and Pullman. Now the weekend, however, is going to bring us to the much warmer range. Overnight lows still going to stay in the 50s, but afternoon highs making their way to the mid-80s by the time we get to Saturday. Warm up to the mid-80s around central Washington. 90s are going to be in store for Sunday in central Washington, but Spokane is looking at a high of 82 and 88 degrees for both of those days. The thing is, that warm-up does not come to an end as the weekend ends. Toward the beginning of next week, Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at mid-90 degree temperatures. Again, that heat wave that currently portions of the eastern side of the country are dealing with, that is shifting off towards us, and we will begin seeing that pretty crazy summer-like heat coming our way by the time we get to the beginning of next week. I'll have details coming up in just a bit, Tim.
All right, Evan, thank you. The Spokane School Board had a chance to finally pass a budget for the upcoming school year, but they didn't. Instead, the momentum was derailed after several board members raised concerns. So now it's back to the drawing board. This morning, our Casey Decker explains what happens next and the changes that could be coming soon.
District staff presented a final budget to the board. It included cuts to nearly every department. But layoff numbers were substantially down from April, in the dozens rather than the hundreds. Other highlights included a change to the library model, no more dedicated librarians, and an early release every Friday for elementary schoolers. The early release is where the budget faced its first hang-up. Board members expressed deep concern about the loss of instruction time. In addition, members had problems with cuts to special ed, severe cuts to custodial services, and an increased number of combined grade classes. To deal with all that, they proposed and passed an amendment. They now want to look at tapping into the district's reserve funds. The most they can take out of that is about $3.6 million. That would bring the reserves down to the lowest level allowed, which is around $20 million. But they want more specifics before they pass an amended budget. So they postponed the vote. Now they'll have a work session on July 31st, where they'll discuss how they can use that $3.6 million to address their various concerns. Then they're expected to actually vote again on August 14th. The deadline to pass the budget is August 30th. There's another wrinkle in all this too. In order to not have early releases, in order to have full days, the district will need to change staffing. That might mean bringing back some specialized teachers like art teachers. It would also mean shuffling teachers around between schools and doing all of that again before school starts up. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are also wondering, how does all of this affect the layoffs? The answer, they almost certainly will either stay at the current numbers, 32 teachers, 74 staffers, or go even smaller. Also, all this doesn't mean they actually will go with the $3.6 million from reserves. They could still vote to pass the original budget or make any number of other changes. For KREM 2 News, I'm Casey Decker.
At 5:04, here are your top stories you need to know before you start your day. The city of Moscow designed a new pedestrian bridge as a simple shortcut for walkers and bike riders, but some people are already misusing it. Despite the fact that the bridge is quite narrow, some people are actually driving their cars over it. After hearing reports of misuse, the city is actually installing signs telling drivers that cars are not allowed on it. The city says the bridge hasn't sustained any damage. The historic Patsy Clark Mansion in Spokane's Browns Addition neighborhood is up for sale. Right now, a law firm owns the building. One of the co-owners said they are looking for the next person to look after the mansion. It's unclear how much they're asking for the iconic home. They simply say they're accepting offers, as they do in real estate. It's more than 11,000 square feet and comes with some of the home's original furniture and antiques. A group of sheriff's deputies in Latah County helped rescue a woman who was trapped in her bedroom closet for days. Last week, the deputies were called to a mobile home park just outside of Moscow. Co-workers of the woman, who is in her 70s, called because they were concerned something happened. They hadn't heard from her in days. They found the woman trapped in her house and injured. She was dehydrated and delirious. She is now safe and recovering thanks to her concerned co-workers. While Seattle's NHL franchise is growing, the team hired Hockey Hall of Famer Ron Francis as general manager. Franchise leaders say Francis will take over immediately and oversee all operations. This includes player personnel and coaching staff. Francis was a 4th overall draft pick in 1981 and began his professional hockey career with the Hartford Whalers. He also played for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Carolina Hurricanes. With this background, Seattle's CEO says hiring Francis is a dream come true. Seattle's NHL franchise is expected to start playing in 2021. Well, in a story we've been following overnight, a small plane made an emergency landing on Highway 97 and South Caribou Ridge in North Idaho. ISP officials tell us a 52-year-old man from Montana was flying the plane. He was flying to Felts Field from Billings when his single-engine airplane experienced engine failure, prompting the emergency landing. The man was the only person aboard the plane. Idaho State Police says no one was hurt and there was no damage as a result of the landing.
One car went by, but after that car went by, there was no one on the road, so I continued to bank to the right and I placed it on the road. And I was worried about power lines on the side of the road, but I didn't know that I had actually gone underneath a power line after I stopped and assessed the situation later. Very scary, very lucky.
Another plane in the area was the first one to report the emergency landing. According to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, the pilot was attempting to make the emergency landing on a dirt road. He successfully landed on Highway 97, as you heard, at the top of Beauty Bay Hill. Authorities noted the pilot showed no signs of intoxication or medical problems. The FAA was arranging to get the plane towed from the scene last night. Well, we told you about this story yesterday morning. Chilling video caught on camera and sent to Kristen Tezerek's cell phone. The video shows a stranger walking up to her home in the middle of the night, and the man was carrying a knife to make matters even worse and just hanging out by their front door. Now, it happened in East Central Spokane.
Nobody wants to see that. It's really, I don't want to have to protect myself, and I don't even want to think about anything bad that could have happened, but we were very fortunate.
The first time she saw the man on video was last Friday. Then 4 days later, the man showed up at her doorstep with a knife again. She says she's never seen him before and has no idea why he targeted her house. She plans on adding to her home security and encourages her neighbors to do the same. If you know the man in the video or have more information about the incident, you're asked to call Crime Check. Well, happening today, the hearing to decide if the Freeman High School shooting suspect should be tried as an adult continues today. Several witnesses have testified so far, but yesterday's testimony brought spectators to tears. We heard from the custodian who intervened during the shooting, and was later hailed a hero. Joe Bowen sprang into action after hearing gunshots.
Immediately upon realizing this is a shooting and the girls are in distress, I looked at him, I looked back down the hall, I looked at him, I thought, well, Columbine had 2 shooters. Where's the other one? Looked back at him, ordered him to go to the ground.
All right, and did he comply with that?
No.
Okay, tell the court more.
He stared at me. So I used a little refined language, go to the ground now. And he looked at me, put his hands up, said okay, reached up, peeled off his Carhartt hat, dropped it to the floor, put his hand up, and went to the floor. I put my knee into his back, my Gerber to his neck, and said, don't move.
Well, also in the hearing, Bowen talked about how that day affected the school. He said more cameras have been installed since. There's also a new security access to the main entrance of the school. Before he completed his testimony, Bowen told the court, quote, "I can't go upstairs without seeing it in my head." The hearing began Monday and has continued throughout this week, and we'll have more coverage throughout the day. Now let's check in with Evan Arani for one thing you need to know about the weather today. Evan.
Thank you very much, Tim. Yeah, we are seeing another day of some pretty chilly temperatures outside. Not only are those afternoon temperatures trending pretty well below average, but overnight lows, well, they are getting pretty chilly. We're seeing mainly mid-40s on the map, where we normally see about 60 degrees for that overnight low. So right now we're about in the mid-40s in the Spokane area thanks to the clearing of the clouds. So a good idea to bring a jacket along with you for that morning commute. By the afternoon, you should be able to take that jacket off, but definitely to start off the day, a few cold ones on the map, Tim.
All right, Evan, thank you. Well, Netflix numbers are down. This is a story we first brought to you yesterday. Industry watchers blame the subscriber loss on price increases, and this fall the competition for viewers is only going to get tougher. Let's connect the dots. The king of streaming may be losing its crown, so why could Netflix topple from its top spot? Let's connect the dots. New numbers show Netflix lost subscribers in the second quarter, the first time that's happened since its explosive growth started about a decade ago. And this happened before some big-name competitors even came online. Disney is launching its own streaming service in November, NBC Universal is coming out with its next year, and Warner Media is expected to start testing its HBO Max service later this year. And as these big fish launch their own sites, they are taking some beloved content off Netflix. Disney has already started to purge its stuff, and deals have been announced that would put an end to Friends and The Office on Netflix. Industry watchers blame price increases for Netflix losing subscribers and warn loss could continue as competition heats up. But it's fighting back, creating a lot more original content and racking up Emmy nominations in the process. And HBO Max and Chill just doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Well, fresh fruits and veggies just got a lot easier to get a hold of. After the break, skip the grocery store and checkout lines and check this new place to pick up your local produce. And coming up at 6:30, how an invention from the mission to the moon became a product you probably use every day. Back with more KREM 2 News after the break.